Let's be honest, more people probably put more thought into where they're going to carry their phone than rather where they're going to carry their gun, probably, right? Maybe it's you, maybe you're one of those people. If so, let's talk about it. Let's break down some good carry positions and good draw form techniques so it doesn't look like you're digging out that wedgie or maybe digging for that winning lottery ticket in your pocket. Hey guys, Jeremy with Middle Tennessee Firearms Training out here today with episode 3 of our blueprint for concealed carry. Today we're going to talk about carry positions and draw technique. I cannot emphasize enough, probably hear it maybe 100 times in this video, is I'm going to say make sure you practice and train from whatever position you decide on. Today we're just going to cover some of the most common, which is about 5 of the most common carry positions. And then we're going to talk draw technique, which everybody knows who's come through some of our classes. We spend that first portion of class making sure we've got good draw technique and try to get out some of maybe those ingrained bad habits of how you're coming out of the holster. Because what we want there is something consistent, something proficient, something that you can rely on, and something that is going to stand up to the fight, right? And then other considerations is how we may have to get to that holster and it just be one-handed. So let's talk about those different positions. Number one, probably the most common, I won't say most common, but it's become very popular in the last 10 years, is forward of the hips, the appendix carry. It is gaining a lot of traction with people. People are starting to really dive into this and see that it is not only comfortable, but it's also something that they can be fast in. History has shown us, even before guns, people would carry knives and little hatchets and things like that on the front of their belt because they could get it out fast and immediately have it in front of them in the fight, right? So history has shown us that, and even some of the earliest guys, when they started training and working a lot of these things and really just kind of building the foundation that we have now for firearms training, those guys even had leather holsters up front, not in the waistband, but up front just because they could be faster right there. So look into that. You really can be faster from there, even in exposed outside the waistband. I've seen guys that can go really dang fast sub-second draws from the appendix position. It's something cool to see, and it's something, if you put in the time and the effort, you can absolutely do it as well. All right, number 2, the most common places we see is on that hip, like I just said. Now here's an outside the waistband. Some people will take inside the waistband and carry somewhere between that right on the hip and that 4 o'clock position, 3 to 4 o'clock. And there's nothing wrong with that. Make sure you're good and concealed. Here's one thing to consider about that position. If you're like me, I don't have the longest arms at all. I tend to, look, I used to be one of those that carries over here. But if I can't get to that gun with my non-dominant hand, you might have a problem. Something to consider is what if this arm is injured, can't get to it, the hand is injured, whatever, or it's busy and you really desperately need to get to that gun and you can't reach it. If it's on this side of your body and you can't reach over there and get it, might want to consider moving where you carry it. Which brings us to the next position, small of the back. 6 o'clock. Yes, it's accessible with both hands, although it's going to take some practice. Please, again, practice. My biggest problem with small of the back is really not the location. It is very obvious to me that people that do, they don't train from there. They don't practice from there enough. One thing that kind of makes it difficult is you can't go to an indoor live fire range and practice from that position. I haven't seen a range yet that allows that. I know they don't allow that in competition matches like IDPA or anything like that back here because all the people are back here. Dry fire the heck out of this, practice it at home. It's super important. One thing I would caution you there is whatever holster you have, make sure it's really designed for that, and then be very, very aware of if your gun is protruding. In other words, if your shirt's gotten caught on something up here, it's pulled it tight, whatever, or if you bent over to pick something up, the gun gets exposed and then suddenly the shirt stays on top of the gun and now you've got this thing that's exposed and you don't even know it's exposed. Again, this is one of the reasons, or one of the few reasons, that I'm really just not that impressed with small of the back. If that's the only position you can do it in, by all means, practice, 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 and more practice, and keep doing it. You do you. The next position would be pocket carry. Pocket carry. So here's the thing about pocket carry. I have no problem with it as long as you got a holster. What I don't like is people that just take the gun and they put it in their pocket with no holster whatsoever. It is just in there. There's plenty of videos of guys that have guns that go off in their pockets and they're lucky they don't shoot their toe off or actually shoot into their leg. And then there's some videos where guys actually do shoot themselves in the leg or the foot. Don't be that guy. If you're going to carry in the pocket, practice, 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 and have a good, reliable pocket holster. I don't have a problem with it. Again, if it's concealed and you practice from there and it is a good holster, you can be quick and actually you can do some really cool concealed carry drills from the pocket like that. I mean, and getting you prepared for having to get in your pocket. The other thing is, hey, the backing up and keeping a hand in the pocket. What do we see a lot of people do? A lot of people have their hands in their pockets in public. And if you got your hand strategically placed in such a way that you see something going down, you can already have your hand staged on the gun. Whereas if I'm appendix carry, this is a little bit more obvious of what I'm doing, right? I don't care if you're doing this. This looks a little bit more obvious. So pocket carry, again, has some pros. There are some cons to it as well, just like any position. But pocket carry is not high on my list of bads. It's actually not bad at all if you're doing it right. The next one, and my least favorite, would be the shoulder holster. The leather straps shoulder holster, or worst case, the backpack straps, because you didn't want to spend the $100+ on a good leather one. You went out and got those ones that look like your kid's backpack straps, and they're just in there and they're dangling all over the place. And you're only wearing this, and here's the other thing, is you're only wearing it during the winter months when you're wearing a coat, or better yet, you're wearing it to church because you're wearing your suit jacket, sport jacket, or your vest, whatever, however it is. My biggest pet peeve there, though, is people not understanding if it's carried like this, not so bad, not so bad. If it's carried like this in that leather holster, shoulder holster, that gun, one of two things is happening there. Either it's so short that it's pointing at your bicep when your arm is at your side, or it's pointing at people behind you. It is just sticking out there for the world to see. And I mean, it is obvious when guys are wearing those shoulder holsters with a suit jacket that was not made for concealed carry, and there's this weird thing protruding out the back of their coat. Yeah, it's a gun pointed right at you. I'm glad you saw that. So not my favorite, but as I've said with all the other carry positions, practice, practice, practice. If that is how you have to carry, practice, 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 train with it there, dry fire, dry fire, dry fire, and get good and proficient with it. All right. Let's talk about that draw technique now. We've mentioned those carry positions. Let's talk about draw technique, what you've got to do. If I'm in the appendix or back here or wherever it is on your body and it's covered with a cover garment, the number one step would be to clear cover garment. Clear cover garment. During that same step, I'm actually establishing my master grip. So this is from the appendix position. I'm establishing my good master grip here. I'm not getting the gun out with some improvised thing to where I can then fix it in here. No, I'm grabbing it the same every time. Just like I was going to pick the gun up off the table. I would make a gun to pick up a gun, as we say to a lot of people now when actually just trying to pick a gun up off the table. Pick it up the same way as you would be establishing your master grip, and that helps you dominate the muzzle. Learn to dominate the muzzle, establish that master grip. So if we were breaking this down how we do it in classes, what this would be is position 1. Position 2 is going to be the vertical removal of the gun. We're getting the gun out of the holster, coming straight up. And I like to remind people to drop this elbow. If they drop this elbow and rotate to target in their wrist and their arm right here, that's setting you up for success right here. This is position 2, because now if I absolutely had to shoot from this position, if the guy is too close to me and I have my hand on him or something like that, I'm not angling the gun up and then putting at risk of shooting my own arm. I'm actually keeping the gun kind of angled slightly downward, but still oriented in front of me a pretty good ways to where if I needed to fill this guy with pelvic girdles or gut shots, I absolutely could, right? So that would be position 2. Position 3 would be I'm joining my hands at a specific, I say specific, but it can be kind of a loose area right in here in front of you, whether it be kind of out here a little ways or more in here. There's just this gathering point / collection point where you're getting everything together and you've established now your master grip and you're ready to press to target. When you press to target, we call that position 4, you're actually going to bring the gun eye level. Eye level. I'm not tucking my head down to come down to the gun, right? I'm actually bringing the gun all the way up to my eyes. That is so important. We oftentimes think about getting the gun up and we see people and they're here. And it also even takes them a little extra time to find sights doing that, whether it be a red dot or whatever. If you just practice to bring the gun up to where you're looking without having to move your head, that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is an awesome thing to be well established in and can be able to do. That is a big part of the fight and being fast and accurate right out of the words go, right? So, quick review. Clear cover garment, wherever it is. If it was over here, if I had to clear cover garment, now again, we're using a full-size training gun over here just for the outside the waistband today, just to kind of show you. But I would have to clear that garment. I'm going to use my non-dominant hand. Position 1 becomes get the cover garment out of the way, pull it up, and then towards the front, tight to my body. Then gun comes out, drop that elbow, orient to target, and find that collection point, gathering point, and then press to target and bring it to your eyes, right? Nothing to it, but you got to practice it. You got to practice these things, guys. It's not something that you're just going to rise to the occasion on. No, you will fall back to your consistent level of training. And if you don't practice and do these things, I promise you, there is no rising to the occasion. It doesn't happen. If that was the case, nobody would be out here practicing doing all these things. Oh, don't worry, I will rise. No, you'll freak out. You'll fumble the gun. It'll get caught in your shirt some way. I've seen plenty of this. All kinds of things can happen that way, guys. Practice, 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 practice. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Hey, if you've got a pretty good carry setup, how you carry, look, even this Appendix style holster has a magazine on it. How do you carry and how often do you practice? How often do you dry fire with it? Let me know in the comments what you think. And as always, train hard, train smart. I appreciate you guys so much. Jeremy, Middle Tennessee Firearms Training. Educate, train, defend. Hope to see you on the range soon.